Hello, fellow preppers and grocery gurus. Imagine this: you walk into your local store only to be greeted by empty shelves. What will you and your loved ones eat next month if this scenario becomes your reality? It's a gritty and eye-opening thought that most of us have considered at some point. However, fear not. Today I'm diving into a topic of paramount importance: the top 10 grocery products you should stockpile before next month hits. Trust me, this isn't your typical grocery list. It's crafted with precision, focusing on sustainability and the essential needs of your household during potential shortages. Whether it's the perfect blend of shelf stability and nutrition or versatile ingredients that give you warmth and comfort in your cooking, these items ensure you're well prepared. Stay tuned as we explore each must-have, ensuring your pantry is more than ready to handle the unexpected twists and turns of tomorrow. Let's commit to being prepared and resilient, stocking up wisely to weather any storm comfortably. So grab a pen, take notes, and let's embark on this essential journey together. 10. Beef. You might think of beef as a staple that's always within reach, but the reality is that significant disruptions are looming, and here's why you should act now before it's too late. Let's dive into the dire challenges hitting the beef industry in the U.S., a story of survival for both the cattle and the farmers who rely on them. The perfect storm is brewing: soaring demand meets plummeting cattle numbers, creating a recipe for a shortage with implications that stretch beyond mere higher prices. Central to this crisis is the unyielding drought, laying waste to feed supplies and delivering a crushing blow to farmers' operations. Drought-stricken pastures are no longer viable farming grounds, and exorbitant feed costs paint a bleak picture for those striving to keep their livestock nourished. Faced with these overwhelming expenses, many farmers are left with no choice but to thin their herds, drastically reducing the number of animals available for future beef production. This isn't a bump in the road, but a prolonged challenge expected to cast a shadow well into 2025. As it stands, beginning 2024 finds us with cattle numbers slumped to levels last seen in the 1950s, a staggering setback in herd sizes. Even with some gradual improvements anticipated in the coming years, the scarcity is likely to persist. This cattle conundrum isn't just a farmer's nightmare. It's a call to every consumer to get more strategic about how we buy and use beef. Here's what this means for you now: is the time to reconsider our beef consumption and smartly adapt our buying habits. Proactively purchasing a modest amount of beef to freeze can offer a buffer amid uncertain availability and climbing costs. This foresight in stockpiling will ensure your recipes and meals remain uninterrupted. Nevertheless, it's essential to exercise balance. Overshooting your needs might place unnecessary pressure on your budget and the supply chain, leaving the shelves bare for others in your community. Moreover, cooking with beef efficiently by mix and matching it with other ingredients to extend your meals can be a clever tactic amid these uncertain times. Creative meal planning can maximize your supplies while still providing the satisfaction of a hearty, beef-based dish. To cap it all, keep an eye on local beef markets for deals and consider supporting local farmers and markets where possible. They're the backbone navigating through these turbulent times. By staying informed, anticipating needs, and adopting thoughtful purchasing strategies, we can weather this beef crisis collectively, ensuring that our diets remain flavorful and balanced. The egg dilemma. As we dive into the topic of stocking up for the month ahead, eggs emerge as a pivotal consideration. With the current egg shortage, it's essential to determine how to maintain a balanced stockpile without jeopardizing the community's well-being. The key is finding that sweet spot between being prepared and being considerate of others' needs. When planning to stockpile eggs for the coming month, it's crucial to think about your usual egg consumption habits. Does your household enjoy eggs regularly for breakfast, or are they a staple ingredient in family dinners or baked goods? An average person consumes about 250 to 300 eggs annually, translating to around 20 to 25 eggs each month. Understanding this can help you gauge what your family truly needs. Let's break this down for a typical household of 4. If each person consumes 20 to 25 eggs monthly, you would need about 80 to 100 eggs to meet your monthly demand. However, given the volatile supply, it might be wise to have a buffer. A sensible approach would be to stockpile an extra week's worth of eggs, say, an additional 10 to 12 eggs per person. This results in a total of about 40 to 48 extra eggs for the family, which means you'd be preparing to purchase approximately 120 to 148 eggs for the entire month. This strategy respects the community while ensuring your family's needs are covered. The goal is not to hoard but to maintain a steady supply that allows for some flexibility. Furthermore, Diversifying your protein sources is highly recommended amidst this egg supply dilemma. Consider incorporating plant-based alternatives like beans, lentils, or tofu, and explore dairy and other meats. This not only eases the pressure on egg supplies, but also enriches your diet with varied nutrients. Another factor to consider is how unpredictable kitchen needs can sometimes be. Special occasions or baking projects might demand more eggs than usual. By having this extra buffer, you ensure that any sudden culinary inspirations don't leave you scrambling. Having a strategic plan is more important than ever, especially when dealing with fundamental items like eggs. It's about being prepared for unexpected shortages while recognizing the collective responsibility we all share in times of reduced availability. By adopting these mindful stockpiling habits, you contribute to a more sustainably balanced community supply chain. 8th point, butter. If you're a fan of this creamy spread, you must know that the word on the street has been kind of worrying lately. But what's really happening in the world of butter? Let's break it down. You might be under the impression that butter is vanishing from store shelves, but Land O'Lakes and other big players in the industry are saying otherwise. They assure us that despite the alarming headlines, butter supplies are relatively stable. The real culprits causing all the buzz? Sky-high market prices and a few hiccups in transportation and warehouse labor, creating an illusion of scarcity. So, how does this affect us, the ever-prepared butter-loving community? One important takeaway would be stay calm and savvy. According to industry insiders, the butter stockpile at large isn't as grim as it sounds, but don't let that fool you into complacency either. Stepping up your grocery game is always smart, particularly if baking is more than just a hobby for you, especially as the holiday season draws near. Having a bit extra can go a long way. Here's a tip: snag an additional couple of sticks on your next shopping trip. Think of it as your buttery cushion, enough to tide you over a month or so. But remember, sensible shopping is key. We want everyone in on the buttery action, so no hoarding, please. Should you end up with more than you can handle, don't sweat it. Butter's best-kept secret is that it freezes brilliantly. Stockpile now and then thaw as needed, and you'll be set for those panic baking marathons or when you just crave a golden pat of butter on your breakfast toast. But hey, having a contingency plan is wise given the uncertain dance in the dairy aisles. Consider mixing things up with margarine or plant-based spreads. They're versatile alternatives that won't skip a beat in your culinary creations. Whether it's spreading on toast or incorporating into a dish, these substitutes can easily stand in for butter without missing a flavor beat, adding a dash of adaptability to your pantry. So as you inch through your grocery list, remember that a little preparation goes a long way in safeguarding your kitchen staples. Let's strive to strike that balance, being prepared, contributing to a shared sense of community, and of course, indulging in our love for that trusty stick of butter. Here's to informed stocking, and may all our kitchens stay splendidly stocked. Stay tuned for more tips on how to prepare your pantry for next month. 7. Stockpiling rice. In these uncertain times, understanding the importance of stockpiling rice is crucial, as it is not just a staple in diets worldwide but also a key player in the global food supply. The volatility in rice markets is reaching unprecedented levels due to a tangled web of geopolitical tensions, climate change challenges, and restrictive national policies. For instance, the ongoing conflict following Russia's invasion of Ukraine has sent ripples through the global market, creating an unstable environment for commodities, rice included. This geopolitical upheaval is compounded by extreme weather patterns driven by climate phenomena such as La Niña and El Niño. As a result, the global rice market is experiencing significant turmoil, with prices refusing to recede while other grain prices have momentarily stabilized. One of the critical contributors to this scenario is India's stance on rice exports. As the world's largest exporter, India has introduced export bans and duties as a means to address its domestic supply issues. This strategic move has effectively withdrawn a whopping 9 million metric tons of rice from the global market, tightening the supply chain further. Climate change adds another layer of complexity to the situation. Scientific projections paint a bleak picture, indicating a possible reduction in rice yields by as much as 15% by mid-century, around 2050. This potential shortfall is already manifesting as countries that are major rice producers such as China and the United States report decreasing yields. The environmental factors contributing to this decline include disasters like excessive monsoon rains and catastrophic flooding, particularly in crucial rice-growing regions. These natural occurrences exacerbate the already strained global supply, creating ripple effects felt across international markets. The implications of a rice shortage are particularly dire for nations that heavily rely on this grain as a dietary staple. To address this growing crisis, various measures are being considered across the globe. There is a strong push for more proactive involvement from the private sector in rice trading, aiming to stabilize availability and prices. Moreover, there is a growing emphasis on adopting more sustainable production methodologies, an essential step toward ensuring food security in the years ahead. 6. Sustainable salmon choices. It's something that's not only delicious and versatile but also packed with those essential omega-3 fatty acids, salmon. But wait, before you rush to the store, it's important to make mindful choices focusing on sustainability. Let's break down how you can stockpile this amazing superfood responsibly. First up, let's talk about frozen salmon. This is an absolute go-to for many, and for good reasons. When you freeze salmon, it retains its nutritional goodness and flavor, providing you with quality salmon for up to 6 months. But here's the catch: not all frozen salmon is created equal. Make sure you check labels for sustainably caught or responsibly farmed options. Look for those with certifications from credible organizations like the Marine Stewardship Council or the Aquaculture Stewardship Council. Preserving the delicate balance of our marine ecosystems while ensuring a steady supply of this delicious fish is essential. Next, let's explore canned salmon. Canned salmon might not sound glamorous, but it's a hero in disguise. It boasts a long shelf life and is incredibly versatile in the kitchen. Mix it into salad for a nutrient boost, whip up a savory sandwich, or toss it with pasta for a quick meal. When choosing canned salmon, opt for products labeled as wild-caught from sustainable fisheries. This not only promotes responsible fishing practices but also ensures you're getting a product rich in nutrients and free from harmful additives. Moving on to another delightful option: smoked salmon. Now, who doesn't love a piece of smoked salmon on their morning bagel, or add it as a gourmet touch to your favorite dish? Though it has a shorter shelf life compared to its frozen and canned counterparts, vacuum-packed smoked salmon can still last several weeks in the fridge and up to 6 months in the freezer. Once again, prioritize eco-friendly selections by seeking out packages with sustainability certifications. Beyond focusing on salmon, it's wise to diversify your sources of those beneficial omega-3 fatty acids. Consider stocking up on sardines and mackerel, both rich in omega-3s and often more sustainable choices. For those on plant-based diets, flax seeds and walnuts offer plant-based omega-3s and are great additions to your pantry stash. By choosing to stockpile salmon and these alternatives responsibly and sustainably, you're not just filling your pantry, you're contributing to the conservation efforts needed for the long-term health of salmon populations and their ecosystems. Remember, every purchase becomes a vote for our planet's future. 5. Chicken. If you're planning to stock up your pantry before next month, chicken is definitely a product to keep an eye on. The current chicken supply situation is much more than just a bump in the road, it's practically a full-blown roller coaster. Let's dive into why chicken has become a once mundane grocery staple now facing a perplexing scarcity. It all started with the breed of rooster. Picture this: one wrong breed of rooster chosen, and suddenly a leading chicken supplier finds their output slashed in half. Now, they're making a U-turn back to the previous breed. However, adjusting the rooster population isn't a quick fix. It's going to take some time before we see this change reflected in the chicken supply in our stores. But wait, that's just one piece of the jigsaw puzzle. Demand has skyrocketed tremendously, and this surge was partially fueled by a viral sensation, the fast food chicken sandwich craze. People could not get enough of these delicious sandwiches, driving the demand for chicken through the roof. This alone set the stage for straining the existing infrastructure, which was already running near capacity, to keep consumers satisfied. Then add a dash of supply chain disruption, and you have a recipe for scarcity. Suffice it to say, labor shortages have directly impacted poultry production, a legacy of the pandemic's broad impact on workforce availability. Many poultry plants are finding it hard to operate at maximum capacity due to these shortages. And as if things weren't challenging enough, Mother Nature threw a wrench into the works. Texas and some other major poultry-producing states encountered a brutal winter storm, severely impacting operations. The storm inflicted damage with extreme cold and created widespread power outages, leading to significant poultry losses and further tightening the supply. COVID-19 continues to weave its tangled web over the supply chains, knotting things up further, especially when it comes to chicken tenders. Tenders are already quite limited as each chicken only provides a pair of them. Add in these supply snarls, and it's no wonder tenders have gotten both rarer and pricier, an unfortunate spiral for consumers. In light of these circumstances, it's essential to act with intelligence and consideration. Understanding the reality doesn't mean it's time for a mad dash to strip chicken from the shelves, but rather to approach these purchases with foresight and care. Consider your current consumption and what you'll realistically need, and then purchase accordingly, not excessively. As you're prepping, buy a reasonable surplus amount to freeze and preserve for future use. This strategy ensures you're prepared while also helping to prevent exacerbating the shortage. It benefits everyone if we practice mindful buying. Avoid hoarding. Doing so can ripple out to negatively impact your neighbors and the broader community. 1.4 Flour and wheat berries. Firstly, flour isn't just for the avid baker, it's the backbone of many household recipes, from baking bread to crafting homemade pasta, and even thickening sauces. Knowing how much flour to have on hand can help keep your kitchen running smoothly, even if supply chains hit bumps along the way. Statistics show that the average person consumes about 133 pounds of wheat-related products annually. This consumption translates into a range of delicious goods like bread, cereals, pasta, and cookies. However, not all of this wheat is directly utilized as flour. Assess your family's monthly baking habits to determine your needs. A practical benchmark suggests maintaining around 5 to 10 pounds of flour per person per month. This count assumes moderate baking, the occasional loaf of bread, a pizza night, or Sunday pancakes, but not daily bakery-level production. If you find your family cranking out more goodies or experimenting with new recipes, it's wise to adjust this figure upwards slightly. For those who like to take a more hands-on approach, purchasing wheat berries and milling your flour could be a rewarding endeavor. Not only does this process add a wholesome touch to your culinary arts, but it also allows you to store wheat in its longer-lasting, most durable form. As a rule of thumb, 5 to 8 pounds of wheat berries yield about 10 pounds of flour. Determine your family's needs based on how often you're likely to fire up the mill. Now, let's apply this to a family scenario. If you're stocking up for a family of 4, preparing with 20 to 40 pounds of flour or an equivalent supply of wheat berries for the upcoming month offers a balanced blend of preparedness without crossing into excess. This stockpile covers baking necessities and provides a buffer for unexpected circumstances like extended home stays or ingredient shortages. Being mindful about your pantry helps to ensure everyone in your community can access what they need. Hence, while stocking up is key, be considerate. Hoarding might lead to deficits, posing challenges not only for your household but for others as well. By adopting a thoughtful, well-planned approach, you can fend off potential annoyances like empty supermarket aisles while staying comfortably prepared. To wrap things up, flour and wheat berries form the cornerstone of a savvy stockpile. Their versatility and fundamental role in cuisine, paired with strategic planning, present them as a top choice when ensuring that your pantry is well equipped for any turbulence ahead. So, as you evaluate your own kitchen inventory, make sure to secure enough of this essential staple to keep your culinary adventures thriving. Don't forget to catch the rest of this series to round out your stockpile strategy for the month ahead. 3. Olive oil. Let's dive into why olive oil is one of the most essential grocery items you should consider stockpiling before next month. This isn't just cooking oil, it's liquid gold that has found its way into countless recipes and households around the world. However, the recent forecast of a substantial decrease in olive oil production by 20 to 30% in key regions has caused quite the stir. This decline in output is set to trigger a domino effect, starting with escalating prices, a crippling 19% surge in Spain alone, with an average increase of 16% across the broader European Union market. The repercussions for us, the everyday consumers, are significant. Olive oil is a staple in so many kitchens, prized for its versatility and health benefits. Whether you're drizzling it over salads, sautéing vegetables, or using it as a finishing touch on your favorite pasta dish, running low on this item is a scenario no one wants to face. As market dynamics continue to fluctuate, the signs suggest that prices could rise further, or worse, olive oil could become a rare find on supermarket shelves. This scenario urges us to act strategically in our shopping habits to weather this storm. Now, you might be wondering, how does one effectively prepare for potential olive oil scarcities without draining your wallet or being wasteful? The key here is balance. Rather than buying a year's worth of supply, consider a measured approach. Depending on your household's consumption, it might be wise to stockpile enough to cover a few months, perhaps doubling your usual purchase. For an average family that uses about a liter of olive oil every month, securing an extra 2 to 3 liters could provide that much needed buffer against possible shortages and continued price increments. In parallel, it's advantageous to diversify the types of cooking oils in your pantry. Broadening your options with alternatives such as canola, sunflower, or vegetable oil can be a lifesaver. These oils not only fill the gap should olive oil prices soar, but also offer unique flavors and cooking benefits that could elevate your culinary creations. Plus, having options on hand ensures you won't find yourself in a pinch when olive oil runs out. Ultimately, being well prepared in these unpredictable times involves foresight and a strategic approach to stocking your pantry. As olive oil becomes more expensive and potentially scarce, making smart purchasing decisions now can safeguard you from the full impact of these supply chain disruptions. Remember, the goal isn't to hoard unnecessarily, but to ensure you have a sustainable and balanced supply that aligns with both your culinary needs and potential market challenges. Point 2. Stockpile Durum wheat products for upcoming pasta shortages. You might be wondering why there's an urgency surrounding your favorite Italian dish ingredient. It all boils down to a crisis quietly brewing in the global supply chain for Durum wheat, an invaluable crop that gives pasta its unique taste and texture. A closer look at this developing situation reveals that Canada, the largest exporter of Durum wheat globally, has experienced an alarming 30% reduction in its crops due to relentless drought conditions. Farmers across the country have reported yield declines by as much as 40 to 50%. These extreme weather patterns are not isolated anomalies, but rather glaring signs of climate change creeping into the heart of our food systems. With less wheat available, the prices have surged dramatically by 90%, pushing pasta enthusiasts worldwide to feel the pinch. However, the supply struggles don't stop with Canada alone. Europe, another heavyweight in the arena of Durum wheat cultivation, has faced its own battles against nature. Unseasonably heavy rainfalls have wreaked havoc on European wheat fields, causing widespread crop damage. To compound the issue, bouts of severe dry weather followed, compounding disaster upon disaster, and spelled a dire wheat harvest. This double whammy led to catastrophic shortages, with wheat prices inflating to an unprecedented rate, soaring as much as 9,100%. These examples underline the critical challenges that climate change poses to agriculture on a global scale, challenges that seem to target staple crops indispensable to our kitchens. For the pasta aficionados among us, the implications are tangible. Imagine reaching for your favorite pasta at your local grocery store, only to find the shelves barren or, worse still, a jaw-dropping price hike that turns a simple bowl of spaghetti into a luxury. The big question is what can be done in response to these unsettling trends. Stockpiling becomes an essential strategy, purchasing essential products like pasta before the global supply disruptions trickle down to consumer levels. Ensuring you have a reserve of these staples doesn't just safeguard your dietary preferences, it stabilizes your immediate grocery bills against volatile market shifts. Taking a proactive approach by stocking up on pasta now can help cushion against the potential scarcity and associated costs driven by these environmental variables. Furthermore, recognizing the broader discussion of climate change and its impacts, this situation underlines the urgency for resolving these global issues, pushing for agricultural resilience and sustainable practices to protect our vital food stocks for the future. On tomato-based products. Imagine this scenario: you're craving your favorite pasta, but when you head to the store for tomato sauce, you find the shelves empty. This could become a reality due to the ongoing tomato shortage in the U.S. The supply is dwindling, primarily because of California's persistent drought in 2023, compounded by global disruptions in supply chains. California, renowned for its role as a top supplier of processing tomatoes for products like paste, sauce, and ketchup, has taken a significant hit in production levels. The drought, combined with the conflict in Ukraine affecting fertilizer availability, means that tomato supplies could remain strained well into 2024. This is why stocking up on tomato-based products right now is more than a savvy shopping decision, it's a necessity. As you prepare for this potential scarcity, think strategically about your approach. To ensure you're sufficiently supplied, consider purchasing a 2 to 3 month stockpile of your essential tomato-based products. Think of those items your family regularly consumes, such as tomato paste, tomato sauce, and even ketchup. Each has an impressive shelf life and offers versatility in a myriad of dishes, from soups to stews to marinades. And tomatoes, as well, are an excellent choice for stockpiling. With their durability and ability to sub in for fresh tomatoes in countless recipes, they can be the unsung hero in your pantry. By having these canned gems on hand, you'll effortlessly bridge the gap when fresh produce becomes elusive. However, it's crucial to approach stockpiling with a spirit of balance. While it's wise to secure these pantry staples ahead of time, overpurchasing can contribute to the ongoing shortage. Aim for moderation. The goal is to be prepared, not make the situation worse. Additionally, it might be the perfect opportunity to venture into home gardening. Growing your own tomatoes can provide a sustainable alternative for fresh produce during the upcoming tough times. Even a small garden or a few pots on your windowsill can yield tomatoes throughout the season. This not only ensures your fresh supply but also reduces your dependency on commercial sources. By supporting local farmers, we can collectively lessen the impact of these shortages over time. Farmers markets often offer produce grown under sustainable practices, and buying locally means supporting those methods and contributing less to the supply chain strain. To sum up, by preparing wisely now, you ensure that your pantry is stocked with the essentials and that you're not caught off guard. Embrace a strategy that supports sustainability and combats scarcity, not just for you, but for everyone affected by these challenging times. In conclusion, preparing for potential disruptions in the food supply chain by stockpiling essential grocery products is a prudent strategy. The key is to focus on durable and versatile items that can sustain your household, such as canned tomatoes, rice, and legumes, while also considering the nutritional value of options like nuts, whole grains, and dried fruits. Remember to approach stockpiling thoughtfully, avoiding excess that could exacerbate shortages. Incorporating sustainable practices like home gardening or supporting local farmers can further support your efforts to maintain a steady food supply. By striking a balance between preparedness and sustainability, you can contribute positively to both your household's well-being and the broader community during these uncertain times.